Hey, just want to say thanks for stopping by and checking out my shop tour videos. I hope you enjoy them. I hope that you come away with some ideas for your own shop. You know, not everybody's got a glamorous shop that is worthy of being published in Fine Woodworking's annual shops issue. And the reality is we often deal with small spaces and spaces that have to share with the car or the boat, storage for the household. So I think that these shop tour videos could be really helpful for other people. I think that probably if you're watching, you might have some ideas and solutions, and I would love it if you share those in the comments below. So thanks for watching. Be sure to comment, and I hope you enjoy the video.
Saw and do my cuts from there. Let's start again.
Okay. And actually, this is pretty good. And then you're gonna love this because I got you, Panel, and Jimmy DeResta.
Yes. My previous shop was a two-car garage, and it was, shared with this pantry and a half bath and the rest of the family, washer and dryer. This shop, it's 18 by 20 feet long. It really has been an upgrade for me. It would be nice to have another 200 or 300 square feet. Well, I don't have that. And so everything has to be mobile to be able to give me additional space. So some of the shop projects that I'm doing is a lot of doing projects for the property. And so I'm really not in the commercial or even the amateur marketplace at this time. I made some stools for our deck, and they're kind of like prototypes of something that maybe I would want to sell. We also redid a pantry door in our Airbnb, and I made a bench for behind the Airbnb. And there's other projects that are needing to be built for the property. The big issue I'm fighting right now is lumber storage and maximizing my space for that. And so everything is mobile, so I can pull things out into the center, the router table or my bandsaw or even the drill press if I needed to, so trying to maximize as much space. And then when I'm not needing those tools and I need to do assembly, I can push everything up against the wall. So this happens to be my miter saw station. And sometimes you just don't have time to to make your own cabinets. So I went to the Rebuilding Center in Portland and we bought this cabinet. It had just come in from somewhere, and it worked out great because it had this angle face on it. But then we were able to incorporate it into this whole miter saw station because I don't have the space to be able to just rip or cut 12-foot long boards or longer. At least here I'm able to set things up, and I can even stick outside the door and then run them through the miter saw and do my cuts from there and start breaking my material down. So after I break it down on my miter saw, and I do have an 8-foot on the left side as well, so I can at least cut up to 8 feet long pieces of lumber if I need to. Then from there I can take a shorter piece of board and I can bring it over here to my table saw and run it through and do any type of rip or dados or whatever else I need to do, and start cutting things down from there. And then if I need to, after that, I can pull my planer out and be able to run stock and run it out the door. And so I'm trying to utilize as much of the outdoor space as possible as well when I'm not able to accommodate it inside the shop. When I was living in California, I bought this rigid table saw. A lot was because of the lifetime warranty and so forth, and the cost point comparative to some of the other models that were out there. But it's gotten to a place where I've outgrown the table saw. I'm looking for a saw that has a more accurate fence than this one does. And as I am getting older and just becoming more cognizant of maybe how I will be around the table saw, I wanted some safety features. So after doing some research, of course, it's a no-brainer to get a SawStop in here. And so within the next couple of weeks, I'm hoping to have a SawStop. So this happens to be my 220 electrical panel that we had installed. And as you notice, as I open this up, that it provides me a lot of expansion if I ever wanted to put any additional circuits in. You'll also notice here that I don't have the wall finished above the panel or below it, because what I want to do is end up building a removable section of the wall. So in case I ever do want to add an additional circuit, that the electrician can gain complete access to either the top or the bottom of the panel. In the process of putting electrical into the shop, I did some research, and this is an electric heater. I was going back and forth. Do I want a mini split? Do I want something running off propane? Anyway, I went with an electric heater because I thought, seeing that with the propane, it could add, or natural gas we don't have in the area, add additional moisture into the air. So this heater really heats up the shop fast, especially with the insulation that we have. It can be in the mid 40s in here during the winter time, and I'll turn the heater on within 10-15 minutes. The heater is hitting at least the low 60s. So it's a very efficient heater, and I have it set up during the winter time to come on anytime the temperature of the shop drops below 45, so that way my glues and stains don't start freezing up. December of 2016, I hired a concrete contractor to come in and pour the floor, and then I was doing some research to what type of flooring to put on here, and actually Wood Magazine featured another woodworker's shop, and he used this product called Dricore, and I was able to get it through Home Depot. It's a little plug, not sponsored, and they come in 16 by 16 inch flooring panels. They were all tongue and grooved. My wife and I came up in later on in 2017, and we installed all the flooring and refinished it. And what I liked about this product is that the top is 3/4 inch OSB. So I'm actually stepping on OSB and not having to stand on concrete all day. And under that is a plastic vapor that allows the concrete to breathe and not retain moisture in it.
The lighting layout actually is really nice and even in here, but you have also a bank of windows. And what is the plan over here with this bank of windows?
When we first acquired the property, there were no windows in here. My wife and I installed the windows. I built them out when it was still in framing. And we have a creek on the other side of the shop. And if I ever wanted to set up like a small workstation or even a desk, that I have something to look out to, plus it brings in some natural light from the outside, and I can take a glance away from what I'm working on and just look at the natural beauty that we have outside. So above the miter saw station, you'll see my lumber rack, and this was a Jay Bates idea that I took, and it has really worked well for my long stock that I have. But I was also fighting an issue with short stock and also sheet goods. So a little over 2 years ago, I was needing to find a solution for dimensional lumber as well as for sheet goods, dimensional lumber that were 8 feet and under, because everything longer would be on the lumber rack over the miter saw station. And so Bob Claggett had come out with a design for a mobile lumber cart, and I incorporated some of the J-Bates thing into it, maybe, or maybe with Bob's, and just using electrical EMT. I believe this is 1/2-inch EMT, and I just for my shelves, and it's really it has for a season worked out really well to hold my dimensional lumber, as well as being able to store some round stock and some other things in here, dowels, some reclaimed lumber, and some other things I have stored in here. I have just have some resin paper here, so when I do painting or glue ups, I have something underneath that. I have overalls. You know, I just have some things that are stored in here. And then on the other side is where I would have my sheet goods. And that's where I started having an issue, because as you can see on the sheet goods side, that I would have to take everything off the cart to be able to get the full size sheets of plywood off, and then put everything back in and off. And I ended up storing the new sheets of plywood in front of the cart, which meant I couldn't get to any of the dimensional lumber. And as a lot of us woodworkers, we have an issue is, when do we keep short pieces of lumber and when do we throw it away or burn it? I built this vertical plywood storage unit, which I'm in the process of finishing. And the face of it will end up having French cleats to allow me to store my clamps on it, as well as maybe some other things as I figure it all out. This is like for spring clamps. And then these are for hanging my parallel clamps. Then I also got a couple of his brackets to make shelves with. So these will be incorporated on the French cleats.
So did you just get CNC plans and have those cut by somebody with a CNC, or did those come flat packed?
So these came flat packed from Chris. He has a whole CNC production system going on in his shop, and he cut these out using Baltic birch on his CNC, and then he flat packed these and sent them to me, and all I did was assemble them together.
Oh, okay. It looked like a pretty slick system.
So this is his clamping system, holder system for spring clamps. So you would just put on the spring clamps on here, as so, and then you can take it and put it on your French cleat wall, and it would just hang there, and that way you'd have all your spring clamps in one location. So where I'm transitioning to right now, and what some of my next steps are, is kind of like mentioned, this cart is going to be eliminated so I can get more floor space. Building out this French cleat wall, you know, it allowed me a place to put clamps on, as mentioned, but also to provide me a place. I've already started filling it up with sheet goods. You know, I have a section that's for full sheets, and anything longer than 48 inches. I have a cubby that's for all sheet goods that are about 48 inches, and then two smaller ones for even smaller sheet good products. I'm going to figure out another system to hold my smaller dimensional lumber. May it be a smaller cart that will store the dimensional lumber upright, and that I can just shove into the corner, and it also will be on casters. So at some point, this lumber cart is going to be sold, or I will just take it apart, and so I can have that additional floor space. Once that's done, then I can bring the SawStop in. The other thing is I have several boxes of hardware. Who doesn't collect screws and nails and nuts and bolts and all of that? And so it's trying to just really organize this shop so I can be able to have easy access to different types of hardware. And it's like I have this one this one cabinet area, and it is just loaded with stuff, disorganized, whether it be screws or it be nails for my nail gun, or there's an airbrush compressor in there in my larger router. You know, so just again, just organizing and making the most efficient use of the space that I have. May have to start over again.
Okay.
She's at my feet.
She's a heavy breather too.
She knows certain words.
This is really, this location's amazing.